We know the New York Islanders need to improve the roster. Today, we'll take a look at some of the top free agents out there, how they'll fit with the Islanders, and how they can help get this team on the road to contention.
You're Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We have got a lot to discuss. A few days ago, we took a look at the draft and some of the players who the Islanders may be interested in at 13. Today, we're going to take a first preliminary peek at the free agent market, what the obstacles are, what the Islanders may or may not be able to do, and some of the players who could help the New York Islanders get back into contention mode if Mathieu Darche is able to add them. So we're going to break some of that down. We'll also take a look at Simon Holmstrom. How was his season? What was his grade? And what is his role going forward on the New York Islanders? Free agency is a sore subject for a lot of Islander fans because every year there is hope. And yet, since modern NHL free agency was introduced in the mid-2000s, the Islanders have never, in their history, signed an elite free agent. And there are reasons that trend could end. I think the obvious one is Matthew Schaefer now being a part of this team. The fact that the prospect pool has, thanks to Mathieu Darche, been improved, that there is young talent coming here. You know, you've got a franchise goalie in Ilya Sorokin. And, you know, these are reasons for hope. The Islanders are also settled in their home arena. They are not leaving anytime soon. And they have a brand new arena with great facilities that players would certainly appreciate. And yet, there are still some real obstacles to the Islanders being able to add a big ticket free agent. The first one, obviously, is that, well, there's not a lot of cap room. And everydayers will recall we discussed this last week, that the Islanders have a little bit of a cap crunch. And that's even before they either do or do not re-sign some of their own restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents. So, you know, you need a backup goalie. Do you bring back Anders Lee? Do you bring back Tony DeAngelo? A lot of questions there and not a lot of cap space. So let's be honest, in order to fill in the roster with a highly priced free agent, and in free agency, you're almost always going to overpay to a degree for quality anyway. You're going to need to make some moves to free up cap space. And these are things that we have talked about on the show. We're going to continue to talk about as they develop, because change is needed to improve this roster. And do I predict that Mathieu Darche will sign a big ticket free agent this offseason? I would say the odds are less than 50-50 that he's able to do that. And it may be a little too soon to do that. But you know what? You never know. And there are some players out there who could really help the New York Islanders. And we'll see. It is not a very deep and talented free agent class this year. Couple of reasons why. The biggest one, perhaps, just that the cap keeps going up. And as a result, teams are able to sign their own free agents before they hit the market more often. And we've mentioned this, as of July 1st, teams can no longer sign their own players to an 8-year deal. It goes down to 7. So any players who wanted that 8-year deal signed on the dotted line this year and still could sign on that dotted line before July 1st and grab those 8-year deals while they are still a possibility. But with all of that being said, with all the obstacles and the history and the weak market, it doesn't mean there aren't some players out there who could really help the New York Islanders. And again, it really kind of depends on a lot of things. If the Islanders are going all in to make the playoffs this year, and I think they can make the playoffs this year if Peter DeBoer's system tightens up the defense a little bit and makes life easier for Ilya Sorokin, and if they can stay healthy at the right positions, if the power play can be even slightly below average, get me to 19th or 20th in the league on the power play, and the Islanders, if they did that this year, were probably a playoff team. So I think this team could sneak into the playoffs. But to improve this roster, I think you're kind of thinking a little bit more than just, okay, what do we got for this year? You're kind of thinking more forward. And again, there are players out there who are big names who I just don't see fitting in with the Islanders or being available. For example, Evgeny Malkin, not going to be an Islander. He's probably going to re-sign with Pittsburgh if he stays another year in the NHL. He hasn't signed yet. Not looking at him as a potential Islander. Patrick Kane, 37 years old. The odds of him being, helping the Islanders at this stage of his career, that would be like a 1-year deal for $3 million. Yeah, you could fit him under the cap, but I don't view him as a difference maker at this stage of his career. In the past, yes, he could have been a real difference maker, but it's 2026, not 2018. So there is that. But I'm going to take a look at a few players. And again, we're going to keep diving into this pool over the course of the next few months before July 1st, when free agency gets underway, to sort of break down some of the possible players, what their cap situation is, how they would fit into the Islanders. We're going to start with a forward, maybe the top forward available in this year's free agent class, and that is Alex Tuch of the Buffalo Sabres. Tuch just turned 30 earlier this month, early May. He is a Syracuse, New York native, so he's an upstate guy, a right wing, and he's coming off a 33-goal, 66-point season. 7 of those 33 goals were on the power play. 3 were shorthanded. He was a plus 24, and he had 57 penalty minutes. He had 195 shots on goal, which is, again, 2.5 shots on goal on average per game, and he was on the ice for 19 minutes a game. Not the most physical player out there, 82 hits, did block 90 shots. Tuch, though, 6'4", 219 pounds. And if you're looking for a younger replacement, let's say, for Anders Lee, Alex Tuch could certainly fill that role. He would give you a lot of goal scoring. And I think, you sign him to a 5-year deal, maybe 6 years. And, you may have a year or two at the end of his contract where, oh, yeah, he's not worth that money anymore. But if you can get 3, 4, 5 really solid years of 25 to 35 goals a year, you take that and you run with it. Now, his cap hit was $4.75 million last year or this year. It's obviously going to take a lot more than that to pry him loose if he hits the open market and the Sabres do not re-sign him. We'll see whether or not he could fit with the New York Islanders. And then another forward that I see as a possibility is Anthony Mantha. Now, Mantha finished his season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's a little bit older, 31, going to turn 32 in September. I would be a little less enthusiastic about Mantha than I would be about Tuch. I mean, to me, Mantha has really only had one great season. This 33-goal season that he had this year is his first career 30-goal season. He'll give you 20 to 25 if he's healthy. Injuries have been an issue over the course of his career. But this year, in the contract year, right? 33 goals, 64 points, a +10, 43 penalty minutes, 7 power play goals. So again, improving the power play. And again, a big guy, 6'5", 240. You want to add some physicality. He only had 52 hits in 81 games. He's not that kind of a physical player, but he does add size. And the Islanders could really use the goal scoring. So, again, you're probably looking at $7-8 million a year for these guys, maybe more. And in order to make that work, Mathieu Darche will have to clear some cap space. But these are players who could help the New York Islanders. These are two forwards that I am thinking about. We're also going to talk about some defensemen. And again, we're going to keep adding more players and more perspectives on them as we get closer to free agency on July 1st. So we will take a look at two defensemen who could help the New York Islanders if the Islanders could sign them as free agents. We'll also grade Simon Holmstrom's season. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, a member of all 4 Islanders Stanley Cup winning teams, a defensive, physical defenseman from St. Paul, Minnesota, who maybe doesn't get as much respect as he deserves for his job and his role in Islanders history. Let's see if you can guess who it is. We've got all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and every possession matters. If you're looking to get even closer to the action, FanDuel has a great offer to get you started. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets just for getting started. I like using FanDuel during the playoffs because everything I need is right there in one place. You could check stats, trends, and matchups before making your picks, which makes the whole experience feel a lot more informed. Whether you're looking at player props or just following your favorite stars, it adds another level of excitement to every game, and it's an easy app to navigate, and it makes playoff basketball even more engaging from start to finish. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why Cotton Candy 5 Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic cotton candy taste you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and zero sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I always love cotton candy, but I can't be eating sweets all day. This is a perfect alternative. The flavor really does bring back that throwback fruity vanilla vibe, and it's surprisingly smooth. I like how convenient it is, too. It's just a small portable shot that I can grab whenever I need a little pick-me-up. So, bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5 Hour Energy Shots, available now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. And don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get ad-free episodes of Locked On Islanders and access to a group chat with me and other hardcore Islander fans who listen to this show. Tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonislanders.supercast.com for more information. So, defensemen. There are a couple that kind of catch my eye a little more readily on the free agent list. And the one that I think would be a really good fit, if possible, is Rasmus Andersson, presently on the Vegas Golden Knights. And I just think he would make this team better immediately. He had 17 goals and 47 points this season, splitting time between the Flames and Vegas. And even on the Flames, which was a team that was struggling in 48 games, he has a +3 rating in the plus-minus. He can quarterback the power play. He had 6 power play goals and 7 power play assists. He averaged 24 minutes a game in his 48 games with Calgary, 21.5 with Vegas, because Vegas is deeper and they don't need him to do as much. He had a total of 178 shots on goal in 81 games overall between the two teams, and averaged 23 minutes and 12 seconds, blocked 149 shots, only 37 hits. Again, not a very physical player, but if you want to add a right shot defenseman who can really impact this team and help improve the power play and help improve the skating ability of transitioning from defense to offense, which we all know, clearing the zone and transitioning from defense to offense has not been the Islanders' strong suit. In fact, Islander fans, how many times have we discussed on this show and on social media during games? Can we clear the puck? Why does this look like a power play when it's not? Why are we turning the puck over so often? All of these things you could help by adding a player like Andersson. And the age, again, it's an issue, but it's not a deal breaker because Rasmus Andersson is, as of right now, 29. He turns 30 in October. Again, a 5-year deal, a 6-year deal. You may have to go to 7. I would prefer to keep it at 5, but again, if he's really a free agent, you got to sign him. And again, you're always overpaying and always giving more years than you would prefer when you're talking about free agency. But I think Andersson could do very well on Long Island and for the Islanders. And, let's take a look and see if they could add him, because I think he could help this team. And then one other defenseman, another right shot defenseman, who I think could help. Darren Raddysh. And Raddysh been with the Tampa Bay Lightning, which tells you, among other things, that Mathieu Darche may have a connection here. Now, he is 30 years old, but 22 goals, 70 points this year. It was a breakout season, way more productivity than any season. I mean, his highest total of goals before this year was 6. His highest point total was 37. And this year it's 22 goals and 70 points. 21 plus 21 on the plus minus, 10 power play goals, and 16 power play assists. If you want to improve your power play, again, that is one way to do it. Now, the cap hit for Raddysh was only $975,000. He's older. He hasn't been in the NHL as long as, some other players. He is going to want to get paid. And the question is, is that one season of productivity, of elite productivity, enough for him to get that big contract? I think because of the laws of supply and demand and the market being as thin as it is, yeah, he's going to get a very big contract in free agency. But here, those are two right shot defensemen who are mobile, who can pass, who can move the puck, who can transition from defense to offense, who can complement Mathieu Schaefer, and who can make a difference offensively, especially for this hockey team. Will it be easy to get any of them? Absolutely not. But will it be impossible? No. And we'll see. We'll see what, if anything, happens this offseason. And as I said, we will continue to take a look at possible free agents, possible draft picks, and all contract negotiations, arbitration, free agency, restricted free agents, unrestricted free agents, qualifying offers, prospect camp. We will have all of that covered all off season here on Locked On Islanders. More to get to on today's show. How did Simon Holmstrom's season grade out? We'll talk about that. Plus, our Islanders birthday of the day coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast, but that's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. Rocket Money tracks all your subscriptions in one spot and can help cancel the ones you don't need in just a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so you actually see where your money is going, and you could set budgets, get alerts, and stay on top of upcoming bills. It just makes everything feel more organized and gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We continue our player-by-player look at the New York Islanders from this past season with Simon Holmstrom. And Holmstrom, I have to say, he is one of those players where he's always good, but you always get the feeling that there's more there that he hasn't fully gotten to yet. And in 2024-2025, he had a career-high 20 goals and a career-high 45 points in 75 games. He played predominantly, on the third line. He's great on the penalty kill, probably more dangerous offensively shorthanded, where he had 2 goals and 2 assists than he is at even strength. And, he could fill in on the second line or even the first on occasion if you need him to. But this year, he played in 79 games, so 4 more games, 1 less goal, 19 instead of 20, 3 fewer assists, 22 instead of 25. He's a +4. His penalty minutes went all the way up to 16. And again, the penalty kill was solid. The ice time was roughly the same. It went down slightly from 16:52 to 16:44. I'm not going to quibble over 8 seconds a game. And again, no physicality. I mean, in 79 games, 16 hits for Simon Holmstrom, but that's not what you're counting on Homie for. He is a solid two-way forward. His shooting percentage, 19.0, and that's the lowest total he's had in 3 years. It was 20.8 in each of the 2 previous seasons. So I always like Holmstrom. I always believe if he had a little more confidence in his shot, which is a very good shot, he could score more goals. And statistically, he did not take a step forward this year. We were hoping that, 20 goals last year, get me to 24, 25 this year. It went down to 19. Again, not going to quibble over 1 goal, but you want to see at this stage in his career progress rather than keeping things roughly the same. I'm giving Holmstrom a B-, close to a B. And I think his role next year is going to depend on how Victor Eklund does, how Kyle Palmieri does when he returns from injury, obviously how Holmstrom does when he gets to training camp and in preseason, what impression he makes on Peter DeBoer. I think a player like Holmstrom is going to fit in really well with DeBoer because DeBoer is all about reducing the opposition's opportunities to create high danger chances. And Holmstrom is a forward who is responsible defensively and gets back and back checks and does all of that. So I think DeBoer will like him. He's going to be a middle 6 guy again, third line. Maybe if he has a great season or early, can move up to the second line, but we'll see. But I think Simon Holmstrom going to be back next year, and let's get him closer to that 25 goal mark if we can. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And well, basically today is the 72nd birthday of former Islanders defenseman Dave Langevin, the St. Paul, Minnesota native, 6'2", 215 pounds, a 7th round pick of the Islanders in 1974, also picked by the Edmonton Oilers of the WHA in the 5th round that same year. After 4 years at Minnesota Duluth, he played 3 seasons in the WHA with the Oilers, but when the merger happened, his rights reverted to the Islanders, and he joined the Isles just in time to play on all 4 Stanley Cup winning teams. Stayed on the island through the end of the 84-85 season, then briefly played for Minnesota and LA, the North Stars and the Kings, and hung up his skates after a brief stint in the minors in 86-87. Played in 513 career NHL games. He's a defensive defenseman, a physical, big defensive defenseman. Only 12 career NHL goals, 119 points, 530 penalty minutes, had 2 goals, 19 points, and 106 penalty minutes in 87 playoff games, with all but 5 of those games coming in an Islanders uniform. One of his better games as an Islander, March 19th, 1983, Islanders hosting the Flyers at the Nassau Coliseum. Bob Froese, the goalie for the Flyers, Roland Melanson, the goalie for the Islanders. And in this game, our Islanders birthday of the day, Dave Langevin gets on the board with the Islanders up 1-0 in the first. He and Billy Carroll set up Mats Hallin, and it's 2-0 Islanders. Then, 3 minutes and 20 seconds later, Langevin and Brian Trottier set up Mike Bossy, and voila, it's 3-0 Islanders. And later in the period, Langevin and Dwayne Sutter set up Butch Goring. That made it 4-0 in favor of the New York Islanders. In the end, the Islanders cruised to a 9-2 shellacking of the Flyers. 40 saves from Melanson in this game, but for our Islanders' birthday of the day, Dave Langevin, he had 3 assists. He was a +3. He did not record a shot on goal, but a 3-point game for a defensive stalwart like Dave Langevin, a rare and enjoyable occurrence. And Dave Langevin, an underrated part of the Islanders' 4 Stanley Cup wins, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with me and other listeners of Locked On Islanders. Just tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonislanders.supercast.com for more information. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 till the modern era. So glad you could join us today on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss one of our daily episodes. And if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. You could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR-VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all offseason long. Everydayers, we're back on Monday. We will continue our player-by-player analysis of the New York Islanders with a look at Max Siplikov. We'll see how he did this year with the Islanders before he was eventually traded. So we'll talk about Sippy's season, and we'll have the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.